The narcissist is struggling now that you're gone. Now that they no longer have you there. They're no longer in your presence. They no longer have you to use as their tool, their appliance. Because that's all that it really was. They never cared about you. They never loved you. It wasn't a real connection, a real relationship. It was a transaction. It was just about you serving them, providing them with what they needed from you. You validating this false image, giving them a sense of control because otherwise they felt insecure. Because their false image isn't even real. And also, by dominating you, by holding this authoritative position over you, it made them feel superior. It made them feel important. And that's really all that it was. That's what you gave, that's what you provided to them. Initially in the idealization, the love bombing phase. When they were mirroring you, they put you up on a pedestal and they got you to do the same thing for them. It made them feel validated. It made them feel like they were something. And then when that didn't work anymore, then they began devaluing you. They treated you as this emotional punching bag, their personal ATM. And those were the benefits that they were getting from you that helped to sustain this illusion. And really, you've just got to look back at everything you gave to them, everything you provided, the money, the emotional support, being subservient to them, listening to all of their problems, following their demands. You've just got to look back at everything that you did for them to realize that, yes, they are going to struggle without you. It's going to be very difficult for them without you in their life. Because all of those times they needed you, they used what you had to provide, what you had to offer. And not only that, it's like they couldn't get enough. I mean, they were really on you, they were really all over you, trying to get as much as they can. And you may have had certain boundaries, they stomped all over them. And that's when you know that someone is really loving what they're getting from you. It's when they just break down the walls. I mean, clearly that reveals the neediness, the desperation, that they are willing to break your rules, knowing that it could create conflict. It could destroy the relationship, the connection. And yet they still do it. Yeah, that reveals how much they needed it. And clearly it reveals that they valued what they were getting from you more than the relationship itself, more than the connection, because there was no connection. If there was a connection, if they really cared about you, if there was actually any emotional investment whatsoever, then they wouldn't have done that to you. They wouldn't have crossed those boundaries. They wouldn't have broken your rules. They wouldn't have been disloyal. They wouldn't have betrayed you. They wouldn't have done any of that if there was a connection. If there was actually some investment there, if there was something at stake. As though if they crossed the boundaries, if they did things that you didn't want them to do, then they would lose something. There would be a disincentive, if that's even a word. So clearly they weren't losing anything from doing those things to you. They didn't love you, there was no connection. They didn't really care about you at all. You were just a tool, an appliance. It was a transaction. And that's how these things fall apart. This is why relationships don't last long term, is when there's nothing really at stake in the relationship. There's no real connection, no real emotional investment. Because if there is, I can tell you, people will submit very quickly, listen to you, obey you, do whatever you want. And it's not that you wanted them to just do whatever you wanted them to do, but you wanted them to respect you, at least. And when there is an emotional investment, when there is a connection, and aside from that, empathy as well, when there are these things involved, people are going to think very carefully before they do anything that might upset you, because that connection is important to them. The relationship matters. And that's how you know that these things never matter to the narcissist. They never cared about you in that way, because if they did, the empathy would have been there for you, the compassion, the understanding. Or at the very least, I mean, there's going to be not wanting to lose the validation. So clearly, maybe the money that they were getting from you, other residual benefits, that was more important to them. Also, maybe they just couldn't resist. They couldn't help but run you into the ground because the validation was important to them. And they just couldn't get enough of it. And, you know, they don't see you as a person, they view you as an object. So they're thinking, you know, you're like a cartoon character, you can just bounce back from it. They're not thinking that they could cause permanent damage to you from doing these things. They don't think that way. They view people as objects, things that are disposable. And that's how there's no real connection, because you have to view someone as a person, as a real living being with their own separate feelings and needs in order for there to be a connection. And that's how there just wasn't one with a narcissist. Passion fruit tea. But yeah, this is why those of you who have been through the discard already, you ever notice how there wasn't any sadness on their part? There wasn't any heartbreak, any tears. There wasn't anything like they really professed their love or how much they need you. It was about that at the beginning though, wasn't it? It was about emotions then, connection. Because they knew that's what you wanted. And then once they got you, once they secured you, they pulled all of that away. Because they were not emotionally invested in you. They didn't care about you like that. That's why there was no tears, no sadness, no heartbreak at the end of it. There was just anger, resentment, entitlement. That's how you know it was a transaction. It was just about the things that they wanted to get from you, and that included your validation, your attention. But you were just an object to them. And that's just how it is, you know. Especially those of you, if you are physically attractive, if you're successful, the higher the likelihood that people are going to objectify you. And that's just how it is in the world today, and especially with narcissists. They objectify everyone. And if you're not someone where they can objectify you, see you as someone who can serve their needs, then they just treat you with contempt. They just want nothing to do with you. You're either going to be their puppet, you're either going to be under their control or let them dominate you because there's something there that they want to dominate, Otherwise, just forget about it. Otherwise, they're just wasting their time on you. And that's what you've got to remember, is that there was something for them to dominate in you. There was something for them to be able to view you as an object. Because that's how we view objects, is we view them as ideal, perfect. Like, yes, this is exactly what I need. It can do exactly what I need it to do. It can fulfill a certain task, a certain purpose, so that it can perform a certain activity. And that's how they saw you. This is how people view objects. It's either good, perfect, it's working, or it's faulty, it's defective. And yeah, they saw you as working in good order, working very well. They saw you as a perfect object at the beginning, something they could use for their own benefit, their own pleasure. And that's what they will miss. That's what's going to cause them to struggle without you. These benefits that they were getting from you, where they were able to use you as this perfect object. And yeah, many of you may wonder, why do they get so mad then? Why are they so resentful at the end? After everything you've given and done for them. Remember, narcissists, they have an arrested emotional development. This is why they throw tantrums. And yeah, it could be likened to a child who will throw a tantrum, such as, let's say, you buy them an Xbox for Christmas. And of course, you know, when they see the Xbox, when they unwrap it, oh, it's a perfect new toy, can't wait to play with it. They play with it for a few months. They may take it for granted after that time. It's not that important to them as it was, but they still use it. Now, what happens if they do something wrong and then to discipline them, you take it away? Or maybe they got too addicted to it, so you try and get them to have a break from it. They cry, they throw a tantrum. They scream, they yell. They may start throwing things if they're quite an angry child, if they're quite rebellious. And it's the same thing with a narcissist. It's like you were doing things for them all of this time. You were their perfect little toy. You were ideal. But then you start to see through them. You start to realize how, hold on a minute. This person doesn't really deserve me because they're not treating me right. They're not respecting me. And maybe they're overusing me. They're running me to the ground. So you pull back a bit. You take away the toy. That's when they lose their minds. That's when they scream. That's when they yell. That's when they throw tantrums. So you see, it's only because you're not performing the way that they want you to. The way that they expect you to. And that's why they get so mad. And yeah, those are the very things that they're going to miss. You will know it by the anger, by the rage. That is what tells you what's important to them. When you don't see the anger, when you don't see the rage, they don't really care about it. They can do without it. They're not bothered about it. They may not even notice it. But when you see the anger burning up inside of them, when you see that, it's because it's important to them. They want it. They want you to give it. That's how you know. And so you look back at the times when they got mad. Yes, those were the things that they wanted from you. The ones that made them mad, such as if you were spending money on the narcissist and you spent so much and then you stopped, and then they really started to lose it. That's what they wanted. That's what was important to them. That's why it made them so angry. You will know what they're going to be struggling with by what got them angry. That's what matters to them, potentially more than anything. Like I said, they will break the rules, they will cross boundaries, they will destroy the relationship, everything, for that one thing. And this is how they can be disloyal to you. They can just destroy everything. Even if you're married, even if you have children, they'll destroy it all for that which they wanted. To get it from you. It could be to get it from you, or because they see another shiny new toy who offers more of it, and then they will just destroy the relationship with you and then go there. This is what they do. They can't deal with the temptation. So now let's talk about it. What was it for you in your relationship with the narcissist? What was it that got them so mad? What was it that they couldn't do without? Remember the anger. That's what tells you what they really wanted. What they really couldn't do without. So let's talk about it now in the live chat. Let's see what people are saying. For those narcissists who are more somatic, it's going to be more either to do with sex, or it could be getting you to worship them, especially if they viewed you as ideal for doing that. Or they're in some kind of fantasy where they see you as something else, because that can happen as well. Such as what we see like on social media. People idealize their audience even though they don't even know who they are. But also it could be money. It could be a certain possession, maybe when you didn't let them use your car. Then they got really mad. Typically what you're going to find is something that revolves around their false image of what they want to present to people, how they want people to see them. Or it could be some kind of residual benefit. Kate says, OMG, what didn't make him so mad? That's how it is, you know. Some narcissists, you're right, they want it all. They get mad at everything. But that means that you are really a high-grade source. If they were getting mad at everything, I mean, they wanted it all from you. So you must have ticked all the boxes. You must have been the full package for them. I mean, especially if you start seeing the jealousy, the possessive nature, excessive control, then you were very important to them, very valuable. And I know I said, you know, there's no connection, and let me explain that. They could still view you as their trophy, their prized possession. It's just they can't express themselves emotionally to you. They're disconnected from their emotions. And even if they can try to connect to them, they're terrified of rejection, abandonment. And they see it as though by doing that, by expressing their love, they're giving their power away. And then you get to decide, is this good for you? Is this what you really deserve? So, you know, that's how it is with them. but they still can view you as this trophy, this prized possession, and be very jealous. But it's more regarding the fantasy version of you, not who you actually are. Anyone else want to mention what the narcissist got mad at while you were with them? What was important to the narcissist? What are they going to be struggling with without you? Because, that reveals exactly what they're going to struggle with. Whatever it was that they were mad about. That's what was most important to them. What's this here? Please, free DD. Is that P Diddy or DD from Dexter's Laboratory? Why would anyone want to free DD? Someone who's involved in sex trafficking, rape, and using escorts and attacking vulnerable women, his vulnerable wife. It's horrible things to do to someone. Coercion, domination, abuse of power. It's evil. But of course, I get it, sometimes you can fall for the fantasy image of these celebrities, and if you grew up with the music, may have a meaning to you, and I get that. Could seem like it's like your friend or something. You may have a certain level of loyalty to these celebs. Sometimes you just gotta wake up and see it for what it is, These people are corrupt. So many of them are like this. Cool Cat Renee asks, did you go to Diddy's freakout parties? You really think that I would go there? Crazy. Like, with my personality, I'd be the number one person to attack out of everyone. The last place I want to be going to is any parties. Because, when I've gone to parties and I've gone to clubs in the past, always got bullied, always got harassed, picked on, sometimes physically attacked. They just see me as vulnerable, innocent. They know they can take advantage of me. So that's why I'm very careful with these types of things. Steady Pace says narcissists are grumpy in the mornings and extra grumpy at night. Not crash hot in the middle of the day as well. That's another thing, they're angry in the morning. Why? Maybe because when they're sleeping, they can't get supply. And you'll notice that, I've seen it myself, how they, towards the end of the day, evening to night, they start to get really worked up. That's when the arguments start. Or that's when they got to make up some excuse so they can go out to the club or something, or to meet someone, because that's just it. When it gets to night time, when it's time for the curtains to close, to wind down, to go to sleep, they start to feel invisible. They start to feel like they don't exist. It brings a lot of anxiety, because then it means no more validation. And that is very distressing for narcissists, and it's something many of them go through every day. It really is. Every night they go through it. Extreme distress from thinking that, everything's winding down now, it's time to sleep, no more supply. This is why many of them like to live in cities and they just stay out all night. They just go to bars, clubs. This is why they do that. Because they have a void inside of themselves. They don't feel whole, they don't feel complete without that constant attention. Steady Pace says, I'm not a party person. Yeah, me neither, not really. Or maybe it's not that I'm not a party person. It depends who's at the party, what kinds of people are there. Are they people who are very egotistical, all about their image and just judging you on your appearance? If it is, that's not the type of party I want to go to. I prefer a party where we're all like in unity together. And it's actually about something more passionate, meaningful. That sounds like the kind of party I'd like to go to. Kate says he would always get mad if I didn't text him all the time, and especially when I was doing something. Yeah, that's it. They want your independence, your autonomy. They want to just have complete control over you because they're jealous. And they hate it when you practice any form of self-care because they know if you are observing yourself, admiring yourself, taking good care of yourself, for a start, that's taking time and attention away from them. But also, it's like you could rebuild your self-esteem, your confidence, and start to wonder, what are you even doing with them? And they're very paranoid of that because they know they're not really doing anything for you. Deep down, they know that they're just a nuisance, they're just a problem. They know they don't bring any value to you. So that's why they hate it when you spend time to yourself. Because they assume just by you giving yourself what you need and what you can give to yourself, you may start to come to the realization that, hold on, how come you can give this to yourself, but they can't give that to you? And yet you can give that to them. So how does that work? And of course, then you realize that they're just not of any value to you. So that's why they hate it when you're alone. Benny Loco says, nothing good happens after midnight. Yeah, not around you, don't. In Malaysia. Nothing good really happens here at all, unless I make it happen. Not like in New York, London, Paris. Now these cities, that's where a narcissist wants to be. They want to be in the center of everything. But then also, can be quite dangerous for narcissists to be in, London and Paris especially, because they're usually quite strict there. And as we know, narcissists, they have no morals, no values. They like to get involved in degenerative activities. So they're likely to go somewhere where those things are more permissible, where they feel like they have more power, more control, where they can get away with things more. Because they like their freedom, if we want to call it that. They don't like rules, they don't like authority, they don't like being told what they can't do. So, narcissists, I bet they do, they look around at places to go and they study where they can get away with things more compared to other places or where they currently are. And you'll find that, of course, what do you think would happen if you go to a city where they're not so strict compared to London or Paris? There's bound to be higher levels of narcissism. That's where they all gravitate towards. Kate says Mexico. Exactly, Mexico. The rules aren't so rigid there. You can get away with a lot of things. There's bound to be higher levels of narcissism. But also what you may find sometimes in places where there's lots of corruption, typically there's a lower cost of living. I don't know why that is, it's just something that I've noticed. But then, what country isn't corrupt? Very few, if any. But yeah, these narcissists, they are going to struggle without you. It's going to be very difficult for them. You were their primary source of supply. You weren't just something on the side. You weren't just someone they'd use for sex. It was much more than that. It was much deeper. So it's not just that they can replace you so easily, because it goes deeper than just physical intimacy. So they can't just go and find another body. It's not that simple. And they can't just find someone else with your characteristics. Someone else who will give what you gave to the level that you gave it. Someone else who will tolerate the things that you tolerated. And yet many of you think that they just move on, they just find new supply, they don't struggle at all. They do. Many times they do. They're just not going to tell you that unless they see it as an opportunity to get more out of you. That's the only time that they're going to play the victim. If they think that you're naive enough to fall for it. But even if they don't play the victim, they're still struggling. And they may just have too much pride and ego to reveal that to you. But that's really what's going on. They're having a hard time without you because most people out there in the world today, despite what they try to make you believe, are not as giving and generous, as kind as you. They're not as empathetic, compassionate, loving, tolerant, understanding. Most people out there in the world today are not like that. But you were. And that is how you know they're going to struggle without you. They are going to have a hard time replacing you. Because just remember who you are. Just remember what you were to them. Just remember what you gave. You really think they could find someone else like that? Someone so kind, loving, generous, giving, tolerant, loyal, obedient. Just look at relationships in the world today. So many people, they have so many unrealistic expectations. And one thing goes wrong, one thing, if they feel like it's affecting their freedom, independence, they just cut it off. They just walk away from it. But you didn't, you were there. So how are they going to find someone else like you with all the qualities that you possess? Someone who stayed in it. Someone who didn't want to walk away despite everything they did to you. You still stayed. And you've just got to remind yourself of that. To know that yes, they will be struggling without you. It is going to be very difficult for them. They're not just going to be able to replace you that easily. It's just that sometimes many of them have magical thinking. They can be delusional. And that's just a part of the shared fantasy. But yeah, let me know if you've got any questions. On this topic or on other topics as well. Just remember their actions. Were they controlling? Were they trying to box you in? Possess you? Were they targeting your independence? Trying to stop you from getting away? Trying to stop you from building a life of your own? Targeting your confidence? Trying to make you insecure? These are all signs that they know they're going to struggle without you. That's why they don't want to be without you. They don't want to let you go. They want to hold on to you. And I think we can all agree, why would we hold on to anything if we know that we're not going to struggle without it? So why do they hold on to you? Why do they try and stop you from getting away? It's because they know they're going to struggle without you. That's the whole point. That's why they held on to you so tightly. So you just got to remember these signs. You've got to remember what you saw from them to know that they are going to struggle without you. And if you're already apart, they're struggling without you right now. And many times what they do really is just try and find things to support their delusion of thinking that they're not struggling without you, such as finding new supply, or trying to destroy you before they leave so that they don't have to feel any regrets, and then they can just go off and tell themselves, oh, I never needed you anyway. When it's like, so why did they have to destroy you then, if they weren't really bothered about it? These are all clear signs. Especially when you see them going off and it's like, oh, they're so happy now, they're living their best lives all of a sudden. Like overnight, they're going to parties, clubs, bars, drinking, drugs, gambling, shopping. These are all coping mechanisms. Why are they trying to cope for? Because they're dealing with a loss. They're struggling without you. And they're just trying to cope. They're trying to run away from their pain of losing this appliance, this tool, this which was once so beneficial to them. So you will see all of these signs. These signs when you're in the relationship, and then at the end when they're trying to destroy you, smear you, isolate you. It's all because they know they can't live without you. That's why they then go and latch on to someone else to help them support their delusions. When they come back, it's only to regain control over what they once possessed. They want their appliance, their tool back. They want to use you again. It's never about connection. It's never about love. It's just using you. Aaron Michael says, especially excessive shopping. Yeah, it's kind of funny when you think about it. I mean, they think they're going off and now they're like showing off this flashy life. Like they're suddenly switching up their appearance, spending lots of money, and they're with this new person acting like they're so happy. They're going to clubs, everything. They think that this is them individuating, showing the separation, showing much how they don't need you. But if you look at it really, it just shows they're just trying to be rebellious, defiant. And it's like resentment. Like a teenager who's trying to separate from their parents. Because really they do still need you. They know they can't live without you. They know that they're struggling. They're just lying to themselves and they're trying to lie to you. And that's all this really reveals, is that it's just a demonstration of how they are struggling without you. Anytime that you see this grandiosity, this new life that they're trying to show off to you, it's just so fake. And once you start seeing it in this way, you will realize that they're deeply insecure. They can't just move on without you. Because otherwise they wouldn't have to prove a point. They wouldn't have to prove anything to you. Kate says, how about excessive alcohol? Exactly, they're just drowning their sorrows. But yeah, this is why so many of them come back. They come back because they are struggling without you and they see it as though it was better with you. I mean, they always see the grass as being greener on the other side. That's just how narcissists think. They're never grateful with anything that they have. But typically, they will be struggling without you, so then they will have to try and come back in many cases. And, on average, a narcissist will return to their victim 7 times before it's finally over. So yeah, expect them to return. Expect them to come back. Expect them to re-idealize what they lost, what they once took for granted. If you're finding this video helpful so far, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Let's get this video out there. Because I'm sure many people, they probably couldn't believe that the narcissist is going to be struggling without them. But this is it, they do. They've just trained you, conditioned you into thinking that they don't need you, they never needed you. But they do. Hold on for one moment. Let me just blow my nose. Suddenly got a runny nose all of a sudden. Back. I think that's the first time in like 5 years of doing live videos now. Never had a runny nose. But yeah, narcissists, they live life very differently to us. For them, it's kind of like timeless, like there's no past, there's no future. There's only the now, there's only the present. They're like predators. So despite everything they did to you, despite how you may have reacted to them, they just forget about all of that. And they can come back, re-idealize you. And they're just thinking about the good times, or they're just fantasizing about things that didn't even happen. Like they're completely delusional. They rewrite the past, they rewrite history. Everything's just completely made up in their minds. It's all fake. So nothing really means anything. Nothing really matters to them. Because, with narcissists, this is how it works. It's all revolved around their feelings. So instead of them taking reality in and basing it on logic, facts, of what's actually happening, it's all coming from their emotions And their feelings can change from one moment to the next. So they can be a certain type of person in one moment, the next moment, there's something completely different. And everything changes, their entire personality, their value system, everything can change from one moment to the next based on their feelings. And their feelings can change not only from them drinking alcohol or using drugs or being out in public and receiving attention, even them just watching a movie or listening to a song. That can be enough for them to suddenly switch up their entire character, their entire personality, whatever they're meant to believe in. And it's the exact same thing with you. I mean, when they come back to you, well, you know, it will be a similar thing you may experience yourself because, of course, you're around this person. And, you know, they view you as an extension of them, so they want to make you more like them so that they can feel more comfortable. And so they can mold and adjust you whenever they need you to be, whatever they want you to be. But not only that, I mean, a certain scent, a certain song, a picture, all sorts of things can suddenly inspire them because they're just emotional. So any little thing can cause a shift in them, which then causes them to idealize you and want to come back. And this is why, you know, you see them sometimes just pop up out of the blue. And it doesn't always have to be that they're struggling without you. I mean, in a way it is, but also think about how their feelings change from one moment to the next. Their entire reality is based off of their feelings. So they could have been fine before. They could have been happy with a news source. And then maybe they're sitting in the car and a song comes on the radio. And then all of a sudden, it dominates their entire mind. They can't stop thinking about you. They have to, they can't resist the urge. They have to text you. They have to go on your social media. They have to look at your pictures. They have to like them. And they just can't resist it. And a lot of times it's out of boredom. You know, they can get bored sometimes and they're looking for meaning. They're looking for validation for their false self, an ideal love for whatever it may be, whatever they saw in you, whatever it was that drew them to you. And that's what's then pulling them back. Whatever makes them feel like something, whatever gives them that fuel. Geneva Cordoba says, the truth is healing a steady pace. Well, it will help you with your healing, definitely. I mean, some narcissists may not believe that you can heal because they don't believe that they can heal. Or even if they know that you can, they don't want you to know that. This is why they keep the truth away from you, because they don't want you to wake up. But the reality is that, of course, this information that I'm giving to you, it does have the power to change your life, just as it has changed my life. I mean, learning about this, it's completely upgraded my awareness, my perspective on things, and now I have a much more clear mind, much higher awareness, and more confidence coming from within. I'm just wiser. I can see things clearer. So I know what I'm dealing with. I can analyze people's behavior. And now I maintain my own autonomy. are not so easily influenced or controlled. And this is all based off of what I've experienced and what I've learned. So of course, yes, this information that I give you in my videos, the more of my videos that you watch and other content creators as well, you're gonna become more aware, wiser, and it's gonna be more difficult for these predators to exploit you. Of course, this is why I face so many attacks, because there's a lot of people out there who know they don't really deserve anything, and they want to keep people asleep. They don't want you to wake up to this. They don't want you to have the information. But that's what I want for you. I want you to wake up. Andrew Cummins says, but it is like a shark missing your blood. That doesn't make me feel any better. Essentially, that's what it is, it's just they're missing their prey. They're missing everything they once took from you, stole from you. And that's all they're really thinking about in their delusions of grandiosity. Thinking that they're perfect, they're wonderful. And it's like, oh, you're so lucky that they come back again. That's what they think. That's what drives them back. Is not only do they idealize you again, they're idealizing themselves and thinking, oh, aren't you lucky that I'm coming back to you? That you get to see me again. And it's just crazy. It's like they just rewrite the past. They forget about everything they did to you. Steady Pace says, watch your health out there, NS, fluids and rest if it doesn't go away. Vitamin C tabs to suck. Oh, I've got all the stuff in gear. All the different things that I like to use. Let me show you what I'm using at the moment. Got this Barocca. I was using it earlier this year and I thought I'd get it again. All sorts of vitamins. All of the B vitamins. Nicotinamide, I'm not sure what that is. Biotin. Pantothenic acid, vitamin C, of course. Folic acid, calcium, magnesium, zinc. And in pretty high doses too. I feel like I have much more energy when I take one of these in the morning, just dissolve it in water. And also I got this plant-based protein, more vitamin and minerals. I have it in the morning when I wake up and also after I go to the gym. And that's really good for me, And sometimes I take vitamin C tablets. And also I take an antipsychotic every night so that I don't go crazy from all of the harassment. But not just that, it also helps to block the dopamine, because there's a lot of dopamine with social media, and especially like with harassment, when you're dealing with stalkers, psychopaths. That's the one way that they try to get you, with dopamine. It's just pure dopamine. There's no oxytocin, because they don't love, they don't connect. It's just a dopamine release. But of course, that one, the quetiapine, I take that in the lowest dose, 25 milligrams. It's more than enough for me. And that is a prescription drug. So definitely speak to your doctor before you take something like that. It's very strong. Steady Pace says, Narc, stuff up your health and it makes them happy. Oh yes, definitely. It reminds me of that movie I watched. I still don't know the name of it, and I haven't watched it since. But it was about a mother. She had two daughters. One of them, who was a teenage girl, she kept at home, and she was keeping her sick, making her think that she had an illness, so that the girl couldn't have go out and have friends and go to school. And yeah, that's what they do. They're very controlling. And then when her other daughter came home, and the other daughter then found out that their mother is keeping her sick, so then she exposed the daughter she was keeping sick. She got out of the bed, trying to get away. And then the mother just put her hands around her neck and started strangling her. And while she was like practically strangling her to death, she's saying, "Why are you hurting me?" And I remember when I saw that, it's like, that's typical narcissism, borderline. They are always the initiators of it. They're always the aggressor, always the perpetrator. You're not doing anything, and they're just controlling you, harming you. And while they're harming you, it's like a projection. It's an accusation against you. Like, why are you doing this to me? It's just crazy. But this is what they do. Yeah, they want to keep you sick. I've done videos on that. They envy your health. They see it as a threat to their control. I apologize that there's no moderators in here yet. If you'd like to be a moderator on the channel, just send me an email, coaching@narcsurvivor.com. .co.uk. But yeah, there's always these weird anonymous accounts going on here. Don't even know who they are, don't know their name, no picture. Probably a fake account. So they're hiding behind some false persona, trying to manipulate everything and to get you to think something weird, or trying to get you to identify with something out of fear or shame so that they can control you, brainwash you. It's just what they do because they're very insecure. Yeah, medication, it can be helpful, you know, when you're dealing with narcissists, gang stalkers. Because of course, you know, you really want to focus on your maintaining your sanity, since that's what they target. They try and make you feel crazy, confused, like you're losing your mind. So you got to hold on to your mind and try medication if it works for you. Speak to a doctor first, of course, and just try different practices and just find something that works for you, that keeps you calm and under control. Because that's just it, you know, we want to feel calm, we want to feel disciplined. These narcissists, they're very primal. They're like animals, they want everything to be wild. And they're trying to get you to join them in their craziness. They want to go back. They don't want to go forward. But as you can probably tell, I'm a pretty chill person. I'm just naturally calm. But I'm also quite a deep thinker when I need to be. I have quite an analytical mind. Yeah, if you can, just report the trolls. If you just report their comments to you too, that should help. But yeah. I think that's good for this video on how, yes, the narcissist is going to struggle without you. Every time I come into this room, the water fountain always turns itself on because it's motion sensitive. Oh, I'm gonna miss Nala. Gonna be leaving here now in about 3 weeks. Leaving Malaysia, going to the Philippines. And of course then, I have to leave Nala behind. Gonna miss her a lot. But I know it's important for me to keep exploring and keep challenging myself. And just have some new scenery for videos. It's very important because, even now, I still get at least 20,000, 25,000 views every 48 hours on my videos. And if you look at how many views my videos get per day, when I upload the latest videos, usually it's maybe just 3,000 or 4,000 views on a typical day, maybe less. So there's another around 20,000 views that are unaccounted for. And of course, that's coming from my older videos. So there's a lot of people who are watching videos that I posted potentially a long time ago. And that's why I'm very focused on having different scenery for my videos, because there's going to be a lot of people watching this one when I post it, and within the next 24 hours. But then also, as it pans out over the next few weeks, months, even years, people are still going to be watching this video. And I don't know the numbers exactly, but I'm sure, especially over the next few years, it's going to be thousands of views to come. So thousands more people. And yeah, it's got to be like over 80% of my views are coming from past videos. Thanks for the donation, Andrew Cummins. Geneva Cadoba asks, what kind of cardio do you do? I don't really do that much cardio. I'll do just a few minutes just to warm up. But what I do other than weights is yoga. And I watch, as I mentioned before, Sean Veig Fitness on YouTube. So he's my yoga coach. And I've been watching him now for about, gotta be about 5 years by now. Since right at the beginning, shortly after I first started making videos on here. That's when I bought a yoga mat online. And then I just started doing yoga in the apartment. Yeah, yoga's really good. It's very healing, just to stop and, well, do the stretches, but just kind of center yourself, come within and breathe deeply while you're doing these different movements. So I definitely recommend yoga. Although again, start slow and make sure you're fit enough to do it and you don't have like a heart condition or anything. Should always be done safely. Thank you for the donation, Hidden Arpazo. Yeah, steady pace. I am enjoying my time away. But I do wonder, this is by far the longest time I've ever been away from the UK. So I do wonder, what is it going to be like when I go back? What am I going to be thinking then? What am I going to be doing? What is life going to be like? But saying that, I am very adaptable. That's how I can just travel around and adapt. Even though at the same time I am a vegan and I'm very disciplined but adaptable at the same time. But typically, a lot of things are much easier in the UK, such as healthcare, vegan food, those types of things, and public transport, just getting around and like wherever you go there, most things are within reach, more accessible. But yeah, I think that's good for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video with me today. And if you did, you can show your support by giving it a thumbs up. Let's work together to get it out there to those who may also need to see it. And let's start a discussion down below in the comment section. Let me know if you agree with what I've said to you, if you've got anything else to add, or if you have any questions. And let me know about your experiences too. If you're new here, subscribe. Click the bell icon, all notifications, so that you will be notified when I go live again or when I upload a new video. And I am available for one-on-one coaching. You can book that through my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. Your donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You can donate by going to paypal.me/narcsurvivor. And from the 4th of June, most of your donations through PayPal will be used to support Nala for her pet sitting. And you can also follow me on my Instagram. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you all for joining me. And I look forward to speaking with you in another one very soon.